What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to G-Ball Vision. Today I have for you guys another exciting unboxing to dig into. So at this point, I am not sure who this is coming from. I order stuff, I get sent stuff, so I'm really not sure what we have here. I think that I know, but I've thought that in the past and actually have no idea. So let's just see what we have here. Yes. Okay, I do know. So, before we get started, if you like knife content, EDC content, all kinds of different content on knives and gear, you're in the right spot. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We do all kinds of fun stuff here. Release videos every single day, unboxings, overviews, reviews, testing, all kinds of stuff. So, let's get into this Trevisa here. We'll do a little zoomy there, and we got some nice packaging here. We got a little sleeve that goes over the box. Then we have a two-stage box here, and Trevisa's really stepping up. I bought a Trevisa a couple years ago, and it was good. 14C, micarta. Good knife. They have really been doing a better job getting, tweaking and doing better. 9/15/2023 QC pass. They give you a little pamphlet, microfiber cloth. They give you a little pouch here. And we have our knife housed in some foam there. So let's get this stuff out of the way and see what we are working with here. Now, I'm not sure. I will link this down below. When you guys are seeing this, I will know a lot more about this knife. But this is something Trevisa wanted me to check out and kind of get out on the radar of people. So we have a G10. It's G10 on G10, white with black. And then we have a DLC coated blade. We have a deep carry clip here. That's a steel rollover clip. Will not be reversible. We have a bunch of like speed holes, if you will, even into the blade there. We are looking at K110 steel. So Bowler K110, not a bad steel. So based on G10 and K110, I don't think this is going to be a real expensive knife. Probably $50 or something like that. Then we have a clip point, modified clip point style of blade here. We have a nice long sweeping belly. Little bit of a, I would say it's a continuous belly all the way to that tip there. And can we use, yeah, you can. So they have a cutout here on both sides. Yeah, you can use it easy. Okay, yeah. Yeah, not bad at all. The detent on this is not shabby at all. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. If you aren't in the right spot, the detent is not, it's tuned well. It's not just going to fail on you. You give that a little bit of effort or anything. Yeah, even just a light pull, and it's coming out. You can always fail a flipper knife, even a Sharp by Design. If you do the old push into itself, even this one's popping out. Even if you do the old half-ass kind of, that one still is popping out. So that's got a decent detent. You can fail them if you really, this one wants to come out though, so that's pretty good. I've had very expensive flippers where if you hit it at the right spot, you can get them to kind of, lackadaisically come out and fail. So the detent on this is not bad at all, and this is definitely a full-size knife. There's one thing right off the rip I would, change, but at the price point, it's really hard to nitpick at that. So we're looking at 8.5 inches overall And as far as our blade length, we're looking at 3 3/4 of cutting edge. And then depending on where you're looking at, 3 3/4 to here, 4 1/4 to this area here, and then 4 inches up in here. So we are definitely getting a substantial size here, and it doesn't feel real heavy. We do have a G10 backspacer here. Nice touch. That's going to definitely help in the ergonomic department. And then I do see some internal milling in there. See if we can pull that up. Yeah, you can kind of see it in there. The internal milling, it looks good. We have a little bit bigger pockets. And then you have the speed holes all the way through. So yeah, that makes sense. That is going to be your weight relief there. If you aren't sure what I was talking about, the Trivisa, which I don't know, they have some models where they just have their emblem here on the pivot, which is what I really prefer. They have their emblem on the pivot and nothing on the blade, which is where I would go if I'm any of these companies, you know, that are maybe not just starting out, but they're really starting to get into their rhythm. Keep the blade clean unless it's like a little logo off and out of the way, or just leave the front of the blade completely clean and just do your emblem right there on the pivot and be done with it. Because that is what the knife buyers, 9 times out of 10, some people it might not bother them, but I would say for the vast majority of the viewers I have here, would prefer the front of the blade to be sterile. And I'm in that same grouping. Now, there comes a point, see, this is completely sterile on this side. And then you have the K110, where was it? On the one side of the flipper there, which is a nice touch. So you have the K110 there, right on the flipper. This thing is nicely tuned, and if you like clip points, this is going to be, and you can still get right up on that tip for the most part. Use a little bit of that belly and that tip. Clip points, you typically have to come up a little bit higher on that knife, you know, as far as how you are angling. You have to come up a little bit higher, but that's just the nature of the beast. Clip points weren't meant, you know, for utility work in that type of sense, like a sheep's foot. Clip points aren't meant to do what sheep's foots do. They're just a different animal altogether. So comparing a clip point to a sheep's foot is just, it's not fair. There's things that this can do very well that a sheep's foot can't do, and there's things that a sheep's foot can do very well that a clip point might not do as well. So it's just, and it's that way with every blade shape. Another, for instance, is a Tanto is going to be much better at scraping and that sort of thing, chiseling, you know, like this PM2 here, is going to do that way better than a sheep's foot or a clip point. So there's just different pros to each blade shape. I was just thinking about it, and now I remember. This is called the Trivisa Leo. They must really like constellations and stuff like that, because a lot of their names have to do with that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of that type of stuff as well. So then I can definitely be on board with the naming of like constellations or stuff that's just happening out in the universe, right? Yeah, this has a decent edge, and it's going to be a great poker too. Great poker. If you're somebody who has a job, or you get into a lot of things where you have to be poking into material and then cutting it, you know, you got to poke into whatever it is and drag cut out of it. This is going to be very, very good at that. Like I said, I'll link this down below, guys. And be sure to let me know down in the comments what you think of this guy, because I love hearing from y'all. Why don't we see what it does up against just a piece of cardboard here. One thing I can say, guys, is the ergos on this this is actually very comfortable to, you know, kind of lock in on. Ooh, you can tell this thing is thin up here, and then it's a little thicker back here, which is not out of the ordinary. Yeah, that's got a nice edge on it. Get that cleared up. So why don't we see what this guy looks like in the pocket here. We do have a nice deep carry clip. We'll just kind of give a little demonstration as always here. The clip is not bad. I like that clip. It's not bad at all. I like how it goes down and then comes back up, but it stays flat. So you ain't going to have that digging in to your hand there. Most of the knife, there's only going to be a tiny portion that sticks up out of there. Barely going to be anything at all. Just that little corner there. No big deal at all. And then retention, pretty good. Pretty good. I like that clip. This is definitely going to be, you know, a knife that is going to be a niche knife. You know, people who like this type of flow and this type of design is not going to be for everyone, but that can be said for pretty much every model, every knife that's ever existed. There's tons of people who like this type of, you know, speed hole design and a clip point blade. And then there's going to be people who don't. So, and one thing is there's good access to that liner. They kind of chamfer this out here. And then you have a nice chamfer on the liner. Easy to get to, easy to disengage. And then Trivisa does a good job in their action department. So we're going to go ahead and test that lock. We do have a perfectly centered blade. And we have about 25% on the lockup or so. So there's no play any which way. We do have coated liners and a coated blade though. And, you know, that's always a question mark for me. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, she's solid, guys. She is solid. That is great. Great news. And I've come to the conclusion that some blades, some knives that have coated liners and a coated blade can sometimes slip because of that coating. So that's where I think that whole quote-unquote break-in period, I think that does come into play with some models. But then just like this guy right here, you have a coated liner, a coated blade, and it's locked up, and it's locked up solid. So it's almost not an excuse to have a knife that has a coated blade and liner and it be failing, because there's knives in that same exact price range with the same exact thing going on and they're passing. So, cause I've had some knives with some coated liners and blades fail. Not easily, but they still failed. And we have a knife that's probably between 40 and 60 bucks here. Like I said, I'll link it down below and you can head over and check it out. Trivisa makes their own knives. So I think that's an awesome touch from Trivisa, and they've really expanded their lineup as well. They have knives down in the $30-ish range, and then they have more expensive knives that range up to $150, even more now, I believe. So they got a little bit of something for everyone in a sense. Different materials, different blade shapes, different steel choices. They use a lot of 14C. They use S35. So they do a lot of things that I really like. And they also aren't afraid to step out of the, out of the box and do something a little different, but still maintains its function. This is definitely a little different of a design, but it maintains all the function that you would need for a pocket knife. It's got, a decent steel in the K110. It came with a good edge. You have multiple ways to deploy this guy. It's easy to deploy, easy to open, easy to close. It has good ergonomics, easy to carry. So they nailed all the function here with this guy. And if the price is right, which I'm sure it will be with this guy, you have a nice pocket knife here, centered, locked up good. Let me know what you think, guys, down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button before you head out. And if you're new to the channel or you've been here before and you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below the video. I would love to have you here. Otherwise, guys, I will catch you on the next one.